Razor, there's not many times that I get envious of somebody who doesn't get to work because I love working. I love what I do. I love talking hockey. Love talking hockey on Nesson, and I especially love talking hockey with you on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. As we welcome you into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor post game on December 27th, Bruins lose, not just lose, they get throttled 6-2 by the Columbus Blue Jackets. But Razor, I am jealous of you on this one because you did not have to work this one tonight. You got to sit at home and watch on the couch, and I'm assuming watch some other things like a Team Canada World Junior Championship game, although that didn't probably end the way you wanted it to. But this was a tough one tonight. Bruins lose pretty significantly, bud. So I think on this one, we're going to get right to it and talk about what the hell else did your father buy at the supermarket while he was in town, because that's a little bit perhaps more interesting content than the Bruins giving up 4 goals in the second period, losing to Columbus.
Yeah, certainly much better content. Evie had a game tonight too, so I got to do that. So I checked all the boxes without having to actually partake in this one too much. This and yeah, my folks are gone. So the
all right, well, did your dad go back to the store? Did he go back per your prediction?
Yeah. He went back before Christmas, before dinner. He had gone back a couple times, I think. He did not go back after Christmas. He did not go back yesterday or this morning before he left town. So.
A couple of times. Interesting.
Yeah, anything to get out of the house. Again, like my house is crazy for people that don't have, craziness typically.
Did he find any special deals? By the way, folks, Razor sent us a picture. It was outstanding, of the specials that were being offered at his supermarket. I'm assuming that, it's like the newspaper flyer that gets sent out. Yeah. And without any words or anything, he just sent us that. But we knew what that meant. We knew that Senior Raycroft was going back to the store. Did he walk out of there with any 5-pound bag of anything that you will have for the next 7 months?
No, he wouldn't do that because, again, he knows that that's not my thing. So I'm sure there was things that were purchased that were like consumed that I didn't know about. It's like that's what happens. It's like there was some garlic bread that was made yesterday. I don't know where that quite came from. Okay. Just a couple of post holiday things, but nothing.
Does he ever try and bring anything back across the border?
No, not really. You always push the limit on the booze because it's just so much cheaper here. But you wouldn't. It's not worth. It's worth getting caught with an extra gallon of Tito's or something like that to go over, but not worth an extra bag of shrimp. Like that's a whole, the guy at the border crossing, right? He's like, yeah, go ahead with the extra case of beer, but don't be an idiot with fruits and vegetables. That's just a pain in my ass. So,
right.
So no, you don't mess
bring
with
back
that
Canadian beer.
So again,
do you guys want to bring back American beer? Really?
Well, you just bring anything American back. It's just so much cheaper than whatever's going on in Canada. So no, usually you stick to the hard liquor because, again, it's the taxes in Canada are nuts. So it's so much cheaper. So I'm sure they had a jug of rum in the back or jug of Tito's.
Well, I'm glad to know that I will not have to see your dad one night on like one of those shows like Contraband.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no.
On Discovery. I'm glad, because that would be funny, actually.
Yeah, no, you don't want to be one of those people at the border. Again, booze, they're okay. I'm sure we could have someone call in on our show that's listening.
Chocolate is what I used to bring back from Canada too.
Of course.
I would try, if I were to drive, there would definitely be an extra case of beer, of real Canadian beer. And then as much Canadian candy chocolate bars as I could. Yeah, the candy bars. Yeah. That's what I would do.
You're okay with that. It's the fruit and vegetables and the produce, that kind of stuff. That's an issue.
Well, if he could actually get it shipped there. Probably he could get Fazenda Coffee there. Let's quickly remind you that Fazenda Coffee is our lead sponsor, and we thank them for being our lead sponsor. FazendaCoffee.com/morningbrew, where you want to go check out, and you can check out all the different roasts and blends that Fazenda has. You can also check out the Clean Canteen Morning Brew style and also the Morning Brew baseball hats. But you just want to check out Fazenda Coffee. You can check them out at Whole Foods as well. They're there retail. They're also in Star Markets in Massachusetts. FazendaCoffee.com. All right. I really don't. I was debating, like, where do we go with this game? I mean, Razor, I understand that this is the first day after 3 full days off, which is, while it sounds great for rest, for a lot of these players, a lot of these pro NHL players, this is a long time to be off. But I'm going to have a hard time using it as an excuse, as the ultimate excuse, because Razor, they got out of the first period 1-1, and it was a meh first period. You know, they ended up tying it up 1-1. It was a nice, actually, it was a beautiful, simple forecheck play by Zacha and Pasternak and Geeky. You know, it starts with Geeky's physical play. But the second period, Razor, is, I mean, is it, am I being too, it's more troubling to me than it is to you right now? But I totally did not like, I thought that they would have gotten their legs going after that first period. If anything, they struggled in the second period.
Yeah, it's a horrible day. It's a horrible game. That's as scheduled loss as it absolutely gets in the National League. And it's a problem if tomorrow night they don't respond and they go 0 for 2 right out of the gates. But this is a 50-50, you know, kind of. We'll see if Columbus is in on it too. But typically everyone's in on this one, where we're going home and home right out of the holidays. All right, we'll go 500 here, no problem. You know, maybe even a loser point in there. Maybe someone gets 3, the other team gets 2. But I get to, but to that, I was expecting them to be down 4-0 after the first, and just, all right, that's over. And the fact that they somehow got out of the first with an unbelievable pass from Pasternak. We got to start paying attention to these assists that he's piling up, because it's getting impressive on a nightly basis. That was a sick pass, and they get out of that 1-1, and so yeah. To your point, I certainly didn't think them to completely have their legs, because again, it's just a brutal day. They were never really going to get their legs, but maybe finding a way to grit it out, not give up 3 power play goals again. That's been the thing, right? That's the thing where this team never gave up 3 power play goals. Now they do it every 3 weeks. They got better at it in the last 15 games with the coaching change, but even on their worst 8-1 losses after the Christmas break, you wouldn't give up 3 power play goals, and that's what's happening. But there's some personnel things too, right? Mason Lohrei is on the ice for all of these goals. Like, he's just not. You don't have Hampus Lindholm. You're down there in that spot, and I think we're seeing some of that in these situations a little bit too.
Did you see that Hampus got engaged over Christmas?
I did. It was beautiful pictures for him.
Was
and
it?
his new fiance now? Yeah.
Yes. Congratulations to them. Very happy for them. The good news is that he's bending the knee. He bent the knee. He proposed perfectly. He did. Did you get on one knee and propose to Aaron that way, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, don't you? Or I was
did.
kind of told I did.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't. No, I didn't.
But it's not.
But I
it's
did
not
surprise
a natural feeling. Yeah.
It wasn't natural, right?
No.
I didn't. Victoria, though, was fine that I didn't. But then when I did surprise her with a ring. Funny, we talked about getting married. We kind of proposed to her without a ring, and then I surprised her with a ring. So that I still didn't do the one knee thing, but I did surprise her in a nice way. So
yeah, I didn't take her to the ring store or anything. I did that all on my own too. So
that a boy. Yeah, I didn't take her to the ring store either. I kind of had an idea what she wanted.
Yeah.
Okay. But Hampus, my point is, he proposed. So I'm taking it as a good sign that the knee's getting better, and that hopefully it's sooner than later that he starts.
Well, and more importantly, his life's in a great spot whenever he does come back. So the mind will be cleared, and he'll be ready to cook whenever the knee lets him.
And they're going to need him to cook, because you're right.
They do. It's just
it is. I mean, I'll go through the game quickly here. Then I want to talk about some other personnel, and I mentioned this the other day. Third line in particular, Trent Frederic in particular. We got to talk about it a little more. And again, I know I'm not jumping off the proverbial cliff here, but what I'm talking about is that I think needs to be a little tweakage. Sean Monahan opens the scoring. Boy, he loves playing against the Bruins this year in the 2 games that they played. With his 12th goal of the season on the power play in the first at the 11:29 mark. Zach Werenski, beg your pardon, who had an absolute monster game. The star of the game, as far as we were concerned, with the assist along with Kirill Marchenko. Monahan got the rebound in front of the net and just kind of swatted it with one hand. And it may have caromed off another Bruin stick. But anyways, the puck just kind of floated over the goaltender, Jonas Korpisalo, for the 1-0 lead. David Pastrnak, though, ties it, as we mentioned. I beg your pardon. Pavel Zacha ties it with his 9th goal of the season. Pastrnak with that sick pass, his 24th of the season at 15-13. The play started into the offensive zone. The hit is made on the defenseman. I'm forgetting who the Columbus defenseman was. Regardless, it was Geekie who got in on the left wing side, but it was a lot to do with the fact that Pastrnak was F2, was the second forechecker, had sealed the wall. So the defenseman, instead of trying to rim it or get it up the wall, stopped and turned back, and Geekie absolutely hit him hard. That led to the forecheck from David Pastrnak, gets the puck, and then he makes that great pass from the blocker side over to the glove side as Pavel Zacha had sifted through that middle low slot area over to the right side. He gets a pass from David, very reminiscent of the overtime goals, Razor, where he gets the not cross crease, but cross seam pass, and then he roofs it quickly. And Zacha, again, his 9th goal of the season, tied it at 1, ending the first period. Just 5 shots in the first for the Bruins, 12 shots for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And then the second period, and oh my gosh, the second period was not kind to the Bruins. There is a Marchenko slashing penalty 4 minutes and 12 seconds into the period. And the Bruins, they don't do anything on the power play. They got a few chances, Razor, but wasn't great. Then they're out there for a longer time, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, it just starts unraveling. And the first goal is the Adam Fantilli goal. His at 7-minute mark, his 7th goal of the season, and it was a sign of things to come as the Bruins just, I don't know, man. Like, how do you want to describe it? They're just not. My eyes, they weren't thinking well at that point.
Yeah, that was bingo, bango, bongo. Game over.
It was
terrible
bad
change. Of course, a terrible change. Carlo doesn't recognize the change, so he's way out on the flank. And that's harsh to go to Carlo, but at the same time, like, he could have just stayed in the middle if he had saw how bad it was looking up the ice.
It's worth describing quickly. McAvoy had what? He had brought the puck up middle of the ice, basically. So he is engaged in the rush. Carlo is the other defenseman out there. He is on that right side. Remember, it's second period, so it's the quote-unquote long change. And the Bruins, 4 skaters, including McAvoy, all go to change, but the puck doesn't get all the way deep. And Carlo then is on the right side. He gets outside the dot, well outside the dot, to get after, I think it was Voronkov he ends up going to, who ends up making the pass over to Fantilli, who scores the breakaway goal. But nobody also covered for McAvoy. Nobody recognized that there too. So it was a litany of errors on that play.
Yeah, it certainly was. And yeah, it again, and okay, so all right, 2-1, but then that was the unraveling. That was the official turkey legs for that group, and there was no coming back. Korpisalo did a great job keeping them in it in the first, made some big saves, was hanging in there. And he was frustrated after that one too. He was like, guys, like, come on, give me a chance here, at least make it look respectable. They couldn't, and then the power play got going. The PK went down the tubes again, and you're 4-1 and whatever, game's over.
Yeah, and so the first goal was scored at the 7-minute mark by Fantilli. Then at 8:13, Monahan gets his second of the game. It was an even strength goal. Nice pass from Werenski over to Monahan. The Bruins got running around. They were in and they were out, and they could never control the middle of the ice then. And Monahan scores that. But then the Voronkov goal, 9:47 on the power play. So you get 3 goals scored in 2 minutes and 47 seconds. We've seen this, unfortunately, too much this year. I think
the good news is we haven't seen it under Sacco, right? Like, it hasn't happened with Joe Sacco.
Well, wait a second. What about what would you say about What about? I'm trying to remember all the goals against Winnipeg.
Wow, that was the game. That was 5 goals in the third. That's not quite
Okay.
the. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like Dallas where it was 2-1. This was like the Dallas game. It was 2-1. You had a power play opportunity, and then all of a sudden it's 5-1 game.
Right. Okay. I agree. And by the way, I agree with you that bad change. To me, that just said that they weren't mentally sharp and they just weren't thinking, and that changed the whole tone of the game.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
Yeah, that's a microcosm.
So at 9:47, Voronkov is going to get the power play goal. He ends up getting 2 power play goals, another one at 19:14. But I want to talk about the one at 9:47 because it was very similar. The big, he's a giant of a man, just like the kid Protas from Washington, 6'5", 227. And by the way, he's down about 15 pounds from what he was before. They said if Voronkov adds a physical element to his game, that he'll be an absolute beast to stop. You won't be able to, his freight train, one of those high efficient, real aggressive freight trains. But he's getting there. But anyway, he's got great set of hands for a big man. But go back to that Seattle game when Jaden Schwartz scored. I know Schwartz came out of the corner more, but he's a lefty as well. Came under that, what we'll call the blocker short side, and he roofed that backhand past Korpisalo. Voronkov doesn't have the runway here, doesn't need it. He's more at that goal line when he gets the puck off the blocker side. But he puts the puck raiser in the exact same spot, basically goes short side, tuck it past Jonas Korpisalo. So I'll ask you the question. Just a really good play by Voronkov. I got to imagine they talked about if Korpisalo plays that he might do this. Don't you look at video like that, show him the Schwartz type of goal, or just coincidence? You tell me what you think there, because it was incredibly similar.
It was so good. He's in the middle of the ice much more than the Schwartz, so he has an opportunity to go far side backhand as well. So Korpisalo has to give a little bit. Schwartz was down below the line. That was an incredible play by him. This one, Voronkov has a few options and has way more time. And again, that's at the point where in the game where it's unraveling as a goaltender too. Like again, that happens too. Like the goalies are allowed to unravel a little bit too, where everything's not quite as sharp and plays are coming from all over. It's like you get a little Denny Lemieux in you in the middle of a period and you give up 4 goals. That the same kind of thing happens. So I wouldn't, again, Korpisalo did what he needed to do tonight. He needed to be ready in the first period. He did that. He gave them an opportunity for everyone else to get their legs. Unfortunately, they didn't. And he took a bit of a smoke show on his numbers with the 6 goals. But again, that play, the Schwartz one, he made a great play from down below the line. This one, the big boy could have done whatever he wanted out in front. He just happened to go bar down with a backhand.
Beautiful shot. Awesome. Absolute.
That guy's awesome. The 2 Russians they have are legit. Watching them last season, I would have, those are good pickups by the Blue Jackets. They're going to be a force.
If you remember that last year, there was a lot of concern about the mindset of Voronkov.
Yeah. But I was like, ooh, these guys are really good.
Yeah. Voronkov was supposedly considering going back at one point, meanwhile, Marchenko, I think, has been Marchenko's 26 assists on the season. Hitting up, he's trending point per game, and Voronkov just under that. But man, they are good. And Werenski, I got to tell you what, Werenski on the power play, that's what you need, man. He's always thinking shot, and because his feet are really good, he's creating a lane for himself regularly to get him through. He pumped in he had 4 assists tonight. Pretty good game. Pretty good game for Zach Werenski tonight. He's healthy as well.
That's the big thing with him. And then, he hasn't played many big games in his life. So that's the other knock. Like he might just be a good power play guy, but he has an opportunity. He's got 4 nations and he's got he might play a couple bigger games this year. Yeah.
With that power play goal late in the period, Voronkov, he gets a beautiful pass from Kirill Marchenko, who reminded me of a pass that Artemi Panarin would often make, kind of like that fake shot pass, like a Kucherov type of play. That made it 4-1, and then Marchenko, I called him Marchenkov. Marchenko gets his 14th goal of the season, 3:04 into the third period, and then Charlie Coyle gets his 10th from Lindholm and Marchand at 4:08 Nice play. Marchand keeps his point streak alive. Coyle and Lindholm continue to put up some points. Okay, it's nice. There's nothing, it's okay. It's just part of the game. Let me just tell you this. The shots in the second, 14-10 in favor of Columbus. Then in the third, it was 11-7 in favor of the Bruins. The power plays, 0 for 2 for the Bruins, 3 for 3 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. One other little thing, Razor, of the 26 shots that reached the net, partner, in this game for the Boston Bruins, 7 came off the stick of Charlie Coyle and 6 came off the stick of David Pastrnak. So a total of 13 of the 26 shots came from 2 players.
Well, that's that. So that was kind of one of my points, and I don't know, take it for what it's worth, but the top 6 forwards actually showed up, which is interesting. And that had the fourth line is the one that took the -2s. The top 6 forwards were all +1. You look through here, you got Kepke, Kastelik, Peak, Wahlstrom. They're all -2 along with Mason Lohrei. So it was there was some guys that were ready to go, some guys that have gone through this and played a bunch of these games after the holidays that were ready to go and revved. And then the coaching staff's going to have a field day with the bottom of the lineup tonight on the way home or tomorrow morning and explaining to them that you weren't ready, so you better be ready tonight.
Well, that's the hope. I don't know. I personally, I didn't love the way. I understand what you're saying about the stats. I didn't love the way that I didn't think anybody was great. I thought that some guys put up, like you're seeing the shots, but I just didn't think, especially because some of those guys that you're talking about were your penalty killers too. They're your best guys. You know what I mean? They were out there and they didn't kill penalties great. I know what you're saying, and I want to talk about the bottom 6, in particular that third line, because I think it's a very valid point. Like they need to. There's got to be a change or two. There has to be. And let's get to that in a moment. Let's do it in a moment. Let's first recognize our other sponsors for this show. The first one is Graciano Construction. They can and will do it all when it comes to contracting and refreshing, revitalizing your space. If you're in the Boston area, Greater Metro West, or just somewhere else around Mass, give Doug Graciano and his crew a call. GracianoConstruction.com or call them 508-330-7589. You can discuss what you're looking for, get an estimate from them, talk to them about ideas. I was talking to somebody recently who used Graciano Construction for a project Razor, a nice one in their house. And he was saying, I wish that we had used them a couple of years ago. We had known about them because we did an addition to our house before. And if we had worked with them, it would have saved us all these issues of what we have to redo kind of now, and we could have done them. That's just what Doug Graciano is all about. He and his crew, in particular his brother Andre, they do a phenomenal job. They talk you through things. Check them out at GracianoConstruction.com or call 508-330-7589. Also, Sparks. I put the Sparks hat on tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, you see that is there. I have the vintage now because it's a year and a half old Morning Brew sweatshirt on. Sadly, no more of these, or at least not for now, just hats. But Sparks Hockey is the finest at-home skate sharpener you can find. And I'm assuming Evie had a game. You said I'm assuming the kids have used it this week.
The machine was buzzing the whole time because they were on the pond, they were on the outdoor rink, the machine. I gotta go check the wheels actually, because I'm sure they're ground to a pulp, because that thing was cooking every time they went on the new ice. The kids were up at Lars Anderson the other night, so yeah, we've got a ton of use out of it this week. So
go check out sparkshockey.com. Use the code BREW50, BRU50, and get $50 off. They also have got some other great deals on their website, sparkshockey.com, the finest at-home skate sharpening product that you can find. Trust us. Hey, if you don't want to trust me, trust Razor. Everybody likes Razor. Trust him. Yeah. It's the best product, and it saves your life and your mind a lot of angst. Your skates are always clean and sharp. All right, Razor, let's go to the bottom 6. Right now, the Bruins only have one extra up, and it's Mark McLaughlin. He didn't play tonight. Evidently, I guess there was some decision making. Would it be Wahlstrom? I shouldn't say Wahlstrom. Would it be Mark McLaughlin in, or they kept, Cole Koepke in. I guess that was the only question about the lineup. Otherwise, it was the same as it was against Washington, except for the goaltender, except for Swayman out and Korpisalo. And by the way, Korpisalo knew he was going to start this game right at the end of the game against Washington Capitals, right? Like he knew that he was starting this game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the process there too.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Not when the season started.
Exactly. Okay.
Here you go, Shipburger. Have it.
So, right. Backup goalie blues.
Yeah.
So, all right. The question for the lineup tonight, again, if just listening to, I guess, what Joe Sacco said pregame, question about, we'll see, or I guess it was after morning skate, who'd be in on the fourth line. So you assume it's either Koepke or McLaughlin. Anyways, Cole Koepke's in. Now you got Mark McLaughlin there. Trent Frederic played center again with Brazo and Wahlstrom. I'm watching Trent Frederic and I'm not noticing him much. And we talked about it the other day too. And we did the big interview with Trent Frederic at the beginning of the season. I mean, I think fans know how I think very highly of him. But I just feel like Razor right now, he is having a harder time playing big, playing with pace, playing confidently right now. I do. And you know what? I think it's time now. I know it's just, what they've been together three games now as a line. I think you got to put him back on wing. I do. So the question becomes, do you move a guy like Mark Kastelik up there? And then move him over to the wing. I don't think you can you afford to take Coyle off the right wing with Lindholm and Marchand?
No, you can't. You can't. So yes, okay. You move Kastelik up, you move Beecher to the middle, then you deal with you put McLaughlin on the left, I guess, over with those guys on the fourth line.
Or you move Koepke to the left. You put Beecher in the middle, you put Koepke on the left and McLaughlin on the right, and that means either a Brazo or a Wallstrom come out of the lineup.
Yeah, you can't take Brazo out. He's been too good. Like he's got too many.
And he plays on the second power play.
Yeah, like he's not done one thing that would have a coach say, I don't like this guy and I need him out of the lineup. So yeah.
Okay. So
and I think that's kind of the issue, right? That's where they don't really want any of those guys out of the lineup. They want this to become between McLaughlin and Koepke, but if you move Freddie on the other side, then you might be sitting out a Wahlstrom or someone that you might not really want to.
So, all right, I'll start with this. Do you agree that you're better off moving? Do you agree with my take? Frederic should be moved over to the left side.
Oh well, I really think that they're trying to give Freddie every single inch of rope because, again, if this doesn't work out, like if he can't figure this third line center out or third line, like then, it gets tough. It gets hard to keep him. It gets hard not to make a move. It gets hard to sign him. They really have to give him every single inch right now, and things are still pretty good. So.
Listen, I agree with you about wanting to give him every opportunity. I just think right now with this line combination, I don't know. I mean, I think if you can get him back, kind of like Charlie Coyle going from center on third center up to right wing. I mean, let him play a little bit above the puck. Let him play a little bit more straight line. Let him not have as much deep in his own zone time. I know Freddie came into the league as a center. I get that, all that, understand that. But I just think right now, try and get him back there. Some people I saw on social media, and we were talking in the green room and stuff about Matt Poitras. You and I have already talked about Matt Poitras perhaps coming up. But meanwhile, Providence just played against Bridgeport and Hartford 2 games the last 2 nights. I don't know if you can call a kid up and to play him again. If you wanted to put him for 1 game in the middle, can you do that 3 games in 3 nights? Sure, you can. Is it optimal? I don't know. That's rhetorically asking right there. Could that be an option where you're playing against a team in Columbus that has got a lot of skill? Can you say, hey, you know what, Matty P, we need you to come up for 1 game. We need you to come up. And here's the other thing. Mark McLaughlin, remember, he hits 10 games, Razor. He's at 9 right now. He hits 10 games. He then's got to clear waivers to go back down. So do you say, hey, for this game, just spitballing here, partner. Maybe they make a change and they say, Freddie, you're going to be on the left, Potter's in the middle, and Brazo's on the right. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just throwing out possibilities.
Yeah, that one sounds like a lot of work for a night in Columbus on a back-to-back. You've got to make all those phone calls tonight. You got to get him up there tomorrow. There's no skate, so he just shows up. Like it again, like a lot of these decisions get made based off those kinds of things too. So I wouldn't expect that, but that is the beauty of being 50 miles away. Again, I think they still want Poitras to marinate a whole lot more, and being a third line center it's not an offensive place in this league. It's a place of grinding it out a little bit more. So I'd be surprised if they pulled that off just like that. I think they're trying to be patient there, and I don't think a bad night in Columbus on December 27th is going to be a knee jerk from the fact that they've been 11-4-1 prior to that. I don't see them being impatient over this one at all.
All right, but this is an obvious comment. They need to be pretty damn good on Saturday night. Then they need to respond.
Yeah.
And they need to respond more physically, more emotionally involved. Like, they were sharp. They were on point against the Caps, and I understand you can't be that way every game. I get it.
However, after 3 days.
Especially after 3 days
traveling
off,
day off. Like, guys don't like traveling day. Like, just that, okay? Like, I know people like I know
flight. I know.
I know it's not like people don't want to hear it that have a real job. Like, I get it, but it is like it really messes with everything, and it's just not a fun game to play.
You're not getting a good night's sleep like you do normally when you travel
again,
the
those
night
games
before.
used to be 2-1. They used to be 2-1 games. Now they're 5-2 games. Look at the calendar and the scores. Everybody lost 5-2 tonight, and they were all 5-0 after 2, and they kind of cruised around in the third period. It's just let's see what happens on the back-to-back, and then an afternoon game, and like it's the things are good now. Let's not be nuts.
Okay. But I do think you'll see one lineup change. I don't know why.
Someone's coming in, someone's coming out.
Yeah. And I wonder if you'll see Parker Wotherspoon coming. I wonder.
I could see that for sure. I think they keep wanting to send a message because again, that is one thing,
Right. That's one hammer that a coaching staff holds, right?
Yeah,
is ice time and lineup decision. So
GM doesn't want to have to work right now. That gets, you don't want to be maneuvering a salary cap stuff on a back-to-back.
Yeah. But I'm curious. I'm curious if, Mark McLaughlin getting his 10th game, how much that factors in to him being in the lineup or not. I mean, if you think he's going to help you, you got to play him. As far as I'm concerned, you got to take that chance. You got to play him, and
and he's also like the ultimate 13th forward.
Yeah.
Right. And is, listen, there's not a lot of teams that are looking for a 13th forward either.
Right.
It's not like
you got to be willing to take the chance to make your team better too.
Well, yeah, that, and that's a pretty calculated risk that no one's going to pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a shot on Mark. That's just kind of the realization of a salary cap. No one's trying to find $700,000 to pick up on their roster right now.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see. You got to think that one, if not two moves will be made. We know that Jeremy Swayman will start the second game of the back-to-back. That's pretty obvious. And it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully the Bruins do have some more pushback. Hopefully they are more physical. Hopefully they are more connected again, because it would be nice to bounce back from this one. All right. Overall, how was the holiday for you guys besides chaotic? Did it play out as you thought it would?
Yeah, it was great. How about you?
It was excellent. I made it down to Victoria's family out on Long Island, way eastern Long Island. I made the boat. I was cutting it a little close, but I made the ferry in time. And we did have Italian food on Christmas Eve, which was very nice. And then I made a tenderloin with roasted potatoes and some roasted vegetables as well. We had a delicious meal, and I thoroughly enjoy cooking for my in-laws. My mother-in-law goes out and, like your father, she doesn't like shopping, but what she does do, she shops well. She gets great quality stuff. Like, she gets the best, the meats or whatever. And she's like, this is what I've got for you. Go ahead and cook it. So that's what I do. So we had a real nice time, and kids got some, they're old now. You're seeing it. Your kids are just about coming to that another year or two
A lot
where
of
clothes and gifts that they really want / need instead of the fun, which I actually miss some of the young days where, their eyes lit up every time they opened up the gift. But now it's more of a need type of thing. So it's fun. Yeah, so it was good. And then we came back last night, and so travel's been good. And now you're heading to Canada for a couple of days. When are you coming back?
I'll be back. Well, so I got the game tomorrow, and then I'm back for the studio New Year's Eve.
Oh, that's right, the 31st. My days are mixed up here.
I know.
So you're literally getting like 49 hours.
Yep.
In Canada.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So that's what I'm doing. So but I also do get 6 hours in my car by myself. So that's kind of.
Are you going up and back alone, or are you bringing somebody up with you?
No, I'm up and back alone. Just me, up and back alone. So I'm up, hang out, day and a half, 2 days, and then back. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay, and you're taking the Prius, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, the weather looks good. I keep checking the weather. I think I'm in good shape to get up, and won't spend any money on gas.
Attaboy. All right. So you've got that. All right. So, folks, we will not have another Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor until after the Washington game, New Year's Eve afternoon, right? New Year's
Correct.
Eve day afternoon. Same thing. That's repetitive. That's our next Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We will not be doing one after tomorrow night or Saturday night's Columbus game. Razor's jumping into the Prius. I'm jumping out of the arena. So we're not going to do a show, but we will do one more before the end of this year. Bruins lose this one 6-2 in Columbus. We will talk to you in a couple of days. We hope everybody had a wonderful Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, wonderful holidays. We hope everybody had a good time. I'm sure you didn't love this one. Let's see if the Bruins can change things on Saturday night when they take on Columbus. If they have some Fazenda coffee and they enjoy it, I think
that'll help.